Thank you. Recognize Ms. Sewell of Alabama.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think that I agree with Adrian Smith about our focus being on designation. Would really ask Ms. Mogg, would you talk to us about whether or not there is a Biden plan to actually substitute the official poverty rate for the supplemental poverty rate?
I have not heard or seen any evidence that there is a move to replace the poverty rate. In fact, the report says the SPM should be elevated as a way to show the progress that's happening with government programs, not as a way of determining eligibility. It's a little bit circular even, because the SPM would count the benefit of the earned income tax credit or child tax credit or SNAP benefits. So you couldn't base eligibility on that since it's endemic inside the measure.
Right. Conspiracy theories and squabbling about the designation doesn't change the fact that the reality about poverty. I represent Alabama's Black Belt, a very proud product of Alabama's rural Black Belt. But our rate of poverty is much higher than the rate in Alabama writ large. And the reality is that lots of the kids that I represent go to bed hungry. We as a committee do make choices. And I have to tell you, I'm proud of the fact that during the pandemic, that the House Democrats decided to make fully refundable the child tax credit. It cut poverty in half. This is not a statistic. I just want to talk just about how it did it in my district. The fact of the matter is that so many more of my constituents had money in their pockets monthly. Because we paid it monthly, and because we made it fully refundable, there are lots of families in my district, the working poor, who don't don't make enough to pay taxes. And so by getting that fully refundable, you actually brought in a whole nother swath of people who otherwise would not have been able to get the child tax credit. Can you talk to us about whether or not the child tax credit somehow decreased rural America? Because I don't think that that's true. I actually don't think that somehow the child tax credit made it worse for rural America versus versus urban. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. The evidence suggests that a larger share of rural children are left out of the child tax credit today than urban children. And so when we made the credit fully refundable, it meant children in urban areas had equal access to the credit. Moreover, there's evidence that people, when they have low incomes, they delay getting health care and they are hungry. And what we saw
let's talk about this work requirement. I haven't seen evidence in my district that people are incentivized when they get Medicare, Medicaid, when they get SNAP benefits or TANF benefits. In fact, the majority of the people who receive SNAP in my district have children under the age of 16. So when I think about the face of welfare or the face of SNAP or the face of CTC, it's a child's face that I see, not some, welfare queen. So talk to me about whether or not CTC and other anti-poverty measures actually discourage work. Do you believe that? And the statistics show that?
The research at the Urban Institute suggests that no, it does not discourage work. There has been some evidence that sometimes people would, a secondary earner might stay home with their child. You might see families with very young children more likely to stay home.
But that has a lot to do with the fact that child care costs are so high.
Exactly. And a lot of people would say in some circumstances it's good. The Bipartisan Policy Center recently released a report. They said that estimates that suggested that there was a large disincentive to work were overstated. They were anomalies in the data, and they weren't what the majority of studies were showing.
I think that, Mr. Chairman, before I yield back, I just want to say that instead of focusing on designations that may or may not come, I really would hope that this committee would try to find some solutions to deal with the reality of poverty that is in America. The greatest country in the world should not have as many children who are poor and in poverty, and people who are in poverty. And I'd like to work on better incentives to create skilled labor and provide people an opportunity here. People don't want a hand. I can only speak for my district, but people in my district, the vast majority, they don't want a handout. They want a hand up, and this committee can provide that. Thank you. I yield back the balance of my time.